Okay, this is a new set of videos about our probes. I'm switching to the development of the Angular application. Angular application is going to manage things like the list of devices, the probes that run on the devices, as well as providing some data visualization functionality. I'm going to be continuing to use the fbmStarter application, and this actual video will just look at getting that switched over to being the basic Angular application, which I'm going to build our probes on. So next part of this, I'm just going to walk through, sketch out what I think the user workflow will be. Then I'll get into changing some of the graphics, just because it annoys me having the bad graphics when I first go into the application. Then I'm going to be doing the npm update, just to make sure all the libraries are up to date in the application. I'm going to rip out the old splash page. I don't think I'll need that anymore. I'm going to update the about page. I've got a Firebase instance, but I'm just going to make sure this application connects up to it, and I have all the information to make sure it can get hosted, and then I'll try deploying it and hosting it, and that'll be about fair enough for this video. So going through the general workflow for this, as a user, initially when you connect to the application, the first decision the application makes is the user logged in? If not, then goes through the Firebase authentication mechanism. The ones I normally set up are Google authentication, email authentication, and Microsoft authentication. That returns to the application. They should be logged in. So yes, we're logged in, and at that point it should drop them into the home page, which I'm expecting to show a list of devices and their status. So I may get sophisticated and show that on a world map, or it may be just a listing, or it may be both. Maybe you can show a map or a list. We'll have our normal menu drop down, and the things the person can administrate is devices and probe definitions. And the combination of the two will be the things that run on the devices, will be the probes for the device. The other option on the menu will probably be something to take you to the data visualization page, where you can look at long-term trending on things like the devices, the probes, do other sort of analysis on that. Okay, I'm going to change the manifest icons and the favorite icons. So I'm going to use Microsoft Expression Designer, mainly because it's free. It's end of life already, but it's free, works pretty well. So I'm going to open up a designer file. So I've created a new design for my ourProbes manifest. It's kind of following a radar theme. And I'm going to save it or export it as a PNG 512 by 512 file. Now I'm going to use this thing called Manifest Builder. It's a quick way of creating all the icons I need. So I pull in that 512 by 512 PNG I just created. It downloads a set of icons. So you see me opening the zip file that it downloaded. So it creates that same design, but in most of the manifest PNG sizes that I need. The only one it doesn't create is a 48 by 48, so I created that manually out of by doing another extract at that size. I also created a new fav icon the same way. That's located up under the source directory. There's the fav icon, so I just pasted in the new fav icon that I created for it. That's a 32 by 32 file. Now I'm going to do an ngserve. This should run the basic application just so I can see that the icons look correct. So I can open up the application on my local browser, and I should see the new icons when it first starts up. So there we see it when the application first starts up. And I also see the fav icon that I updated. Okay, I'm going to do some housekeeping, so I'm just going to do an npm audit first to see what problem packages I still have in my Angular application. I've got 14, so I'm going to do a npm audit fix to do an auto fix on whatever packages it can fix. And I see 12 of 14 were fixed. I just want to see what 2 are still remaining, so I'm going to do a npm audit again. Okay, those don't look too bad, so I'm going to just go ahead with what I've got. Just to check things out, I'm going to do a ngserve to make sure the Angular application still compiles. And I'll open that up in the local browser and make sure it can render there. Okay, looks good. Okay, from my workflow, this is going to be an administrative application, so I don't need a splash screen on the home screen before someone can sign in. So I can remove my current home page from the starter application, which was basically a Angular bootstrap version of the carousel, or the bootstrap carousel. So that also allows me to remove all the bootstrap code I had in the application, because that's the only place I was using it. Otherwise I'm using material everywhere. So let's do that. So I'm going to just do a npm uninstall bootstrap and uninstall ngbootstrap, which was the component that the package that provided the carousel. So let's try npm uninstall the bootstrap first, and I'll also uninstall the ngbootstrap package. This should all make my code a lot smaller too, not having to support these fairly large packages. Okay, as well as that, I need to update wherever I've mentioned bootstrap in my application. The easiest way to do that is to go and do a find in files. I've already done it. Look for bootstrap. So one place it has it is in the app module. So let's go have a look in there. Okay, so I no longer need to import the carousel module. And styles, I don't need the bootstrap styles. README. So I'll take that out of the README. Not that I really needed to. Not sure why ngbootstrap's still showing there. Maybe I should have done a save when I did the uninstall, but let's get rid of that. Okay, so that's most of the changes. Also in the home page I still had the carousel code and the home page HTML. So you see here in the changes, I just removed all the carousel code and some cards that I had on the home page that was doing the job of a splash page. I just replaced that, just left a tag in the home page saying home page. So that's about it. We should be ready to go. So to test this, I'll just do a ngserve. This will build the project and tell me whether I've got any errors. Okay, so built okay. So let's go up to my application. So everything's working by the look of it. I got home page, I still got my fav icon, and I got my new tag in there, but all the bootstrap stuff's removed. Okay, something I found out when I was creating or deploying to my Firebase application. So if you've created your project under Google Cloud, then when you go to Firebase to create your Firebase project, remember that Firebase is really just using services under your Google Cloud project. So when you do a add project, you'll see the project that you created in Google Cloud available as a default option for creating your Firebase project. This is just I've already created the ourProbes project in Google Cloud, so this is a one just to show you what it looks like. I do that, then I do a continue. One thing that's different is the billing. By default you're going to get the pay-as-you-go billing because that's what the Google Cloud project's set up as. Just click through all these. I'm going to have some analytics, and it'll go through and create the project. So the good thing about this is it goes in and updates things like authentication over on the Google Cloud side for you, so everything works correctly. I spent quite a bit of time doing this wrong, where I set up a project in Firebase without realizing that I had to link it to the Google Cloud version of the project where the IoT stuff's happening. So we're all set up. Okay, now I'm going to deploy all my ourProbes Angular code and Firebase functions and database rules, everything that makes up the project, up to my Firebase instance in the cloud. So I'm going to use the Firebase CLI, which I've already installed, and I'm going to do a Firebase use first just to make sure that I'm pointing at the right project up on the cloud. So I am, and then I can do I've actually got a npm command to do the deploy, npm run, and it just deploys each of the components of the solution up to the cloud separately. Let's run that. It's going to do a build, put everything in the deploy directory, and then going to deploy that up to the server. And you can see here it goes through and does the production build, does the deploy, does Firestore rules deploy, and functions deploy. So I'll just let this run. Okay, so that seemed to go through without an error, and the default hosting location will be under the host deploy, so that one there. So let's open that up in a browser. So you see I'm connected to the Firebase app domain. So this is up in the cloud now. I've hosted my solution. Let's just check that things like logins working. So sign in with Google. I use my Google account. I've already gone through this once and set up a user account for myself. So it looks like I've logged in. I can see my picture up there. I can see the administration menu is now available because I've set myself up as an administrator, and I can log out. So it's looking good. So I think we're ready to go. So next video I'll look at getting the piece from Google IOT service, where it's publishing to the topic in the cloud service, and getting the data that's coming across from the cloud service over to my Firestore database.